Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Government House, Yarralumla. Dawa Nuna, Dawa Nunuwel. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Ngunnawal people, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present, emerging leaders, and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders gathered here with us this afternoon. My name is Paul Singer and I'm the Governor-General's Official Secretary. And as this badge signifies with its cross quills, I'm also Secretary of the Council for the Order of Australia, the council which recommends appointments in the Awards General Division to the Governor-General, who is both Chancellor of the Order and Principal Companion of the Order. I'm also the Secretary of the Australian Bravery Decorations Council, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General for bravery awards. Before we start the ceremony this afternoon, I'd like to acknowledge among our distinguished guests, Rear Admiral Stephen Hughes, representing the Chief of Navy, Major General Susan Coyle, representing the Chief of Army, Air Vice Marshal Stephen Meredith, representing the Chief of Air Force, Ms Katrina Purcell, representing the Commissioner of the Australian Public Service Commission, and Dr Alan Morrison, representing the National President of the Order of Australia Association. Welcome all. Notwithstanding the challenges presented by the pandemic, we are delighted that we're able to proceed with hosting investiture ceremonies here at Government House. We are grateful for your understanding of and compliance with the measures that we've put in place to ensure that this ceremony can occur in a COVID-safe manner. The Australian Honours and Awards system provides a wonderful mechanism through which we as a nation can recognise and celebrate ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Since its inception in 1975, almost 400,000 people have been recognised for their meritorious, bravery, military or national service. The Order of Australia is the principal means of recognising outstanding service, and it's important to note that nominations come from all areas of the community. Anyone can nominate. Today is a special day, not only for the recipients, but also for their families, their friends and their communities. It's a day when we celebrate a diverse range of impressive achievements and service. As staff at Government House, my colleagues and I are privileged to play a small part in the recognition and celebration of that achievement. I hope that we can make today an occasion that you'll all recall with pride for a long time to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand as Her Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley enter the room, and then please remain standing for the singing of the first verse of the Australian National Anthem. The investiture will then begin in the order listed in your programs. After I read their names and citations, the recipients will enter the room from the doorway on my right, and after they've been invested, they'll leave via the centre aisle to take up their seats at the back of the room. And at this point, you might like to show your appreciation with a short applause. At the conclusion of the investiture ceremony, the Governor-General will say a few words, and then I'll invite recipients to join with Her Excellencies out on the state entrance stairs for a formal photograph. And at this point, I just invite guests to remain briefly in this room until Their Excellencies and the guests and recipients have departed. And then after that photograph has been taken, refreshments will be served in the dining room. So ladies and gentlemen, please relax and enjoy this very special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia and Mrs Linda Hurley, and remain standing for the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated.
A very warm welcome to you all to Government House at Yarralumla this afternoon for a very special day in the life of our recipients, some who are apprehensive about the day sitting in the back there, and but also a great day for our country, Australia, as we recognise significant achievements by members of our community. I begin by acknowledging that Government House here at Yarralumla sits on the land of the Ngunnawal people. I do thank them for looking after this beautiful part of our country so well for us for generation after generation, and pay respects to their elders past and present. As the Official Secretary Paul has explained to you, this is a very important day in the life of our country. It's a day, of course, that has a bit of pomp and protocol to it, as it should, being a special occasion. But this is a day for Australians to celebrate. So you're allowed to breathe, relax, smile and applaud at the appropriate time. So please enjoy the occasion as you witness achievements of your fellow Australians. I'm going to issue you with some homework after the completion of the investiture. So watch carefully. You are going to see, as I said, a diverse range of achievements acknowledged today, but take note of the composition. There's a hint for your homework. Could I particularly thank the families that are present today? Recipients are not acknowledged because of work they've done simply by themselves. Families are absolutely critical to every recipient. So thank you. This is a special day, of course, for you as well. Our award system has, I think, one very important, perhaps unique characteristic, and that is it's a bottom-up system. None of the recipients here today would be receiving awards if they were not nominated by their peers. Ours is not a system where someone in authority sitting in Canberra or a state capital looks around and says, Bill or Jenny or Phil or Sue are doing a great job, we should give them a medal. This is a system where our people in our community look around and note who is performing well for the community, who is pulling the community together, who is assisting it in difficult times, who's looking after our youth groups, and so on. And citizens nominate other citizens. Again, a hint for your homework later on. We're here because these people are being recognised by their peers. A real strength. So please, relax, enjoy the occasion, celebrate achievements of some fine Australians. If over the last 2 years, Australia has had a difficult time, as have many other countries, the reason why we are in the position we're in today is because of the quality of our people. And that's exactly what we're recognising in this ceremony. I'll now commence the official investiture ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, to be presented with the insignia of his appointment as an officer in the Military Division of the Order of Australia, Air Vice Marshal Lee Gordon. For distinguished service in responsible positions in acquisition and sustainment of aerospace systems for the Australian Defence Force. As head of the Aerospace Systems Division, Air Vice Marshal Gordon focused on continuous improvement of commercial and international logistics support arrangements. He transformed the division into a smart buyer and helped Air Force understand the options available to deliver value for money products and services to match requirements. As head of the Joint Strike Fighter Division, he developed strategies to address a $2.1 billion funding pressure and assisted small to medium Australian companies to win contracts to provide components to the global F-35 program, which generated over $1 billion worth of exports. Air Vice Marshal Gordon has distinguished himself in demanding aerospace acquisition and sustainment roles that are in the finest traditions of the Australian Defence Force. Air Vice Marshal Lee Gordon appointed an officer of the Order. Appointed a member in the General Division, Dr. Paul Roach. For significant service to epidemiology and to the international community of Nepal. Dr. Roach has been at the forefront of the treatment and prevention of leprosy throughout his medical career. He's contributed to important studies on how the immune system controls leprosy infection, to the development of a vaccine, and to the patterns of leprosy drug resistance. Additionally, he served in Nepal over many years through Interserve and the Leprosy Mission International. In Kathmandu, he established the Mycobacterial Research Laboratory, later holding the position as head of research, where he developed numerous international collaborations and trained medical staff, scientists, and research students. Dr. Roach's achievements in the treatment of leprosy and his commitment to improved health outcomes for the people of Nepal are truly remarkable. Dr. Paul Roach, appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member in the Military Division, Rear Admiral Catherine Richards. For exceptional performance of duty in the Royal Australian Navy Command and management positions. Rear Admiral Richards' performance as Chief of Staff Navy Headquarters has been exemplary. She's introduced a culture to challenge perceived norms in order to develop strategies and processes required to deliver Navy's goals and capabilities. As Director General Engineering Navy, she was vital to the reform of rebuilding naval engineering and was instrumental in the development of the Naval Logistics Library and the transformation of the Naval Technical Regulatory System. As Commanding Officer of HMAS Cerberus, she delivered significant growth in capability delivery and was a driving force behind the behavioural and cultural change of junior sailors. Rear Admiral Richards' leadership and professionalism are in the finest traditions of the Navy and of the Defence Force. Rear Admiral Catherine Richards, appointed a member of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mr. John Evans, for service to bushwalking and to the community. Mr. Evans has helped foster a love of bushwalking amongst the local Canberran community. As a member of the Canberra Bushwalking Club, he has shared his extensive knowledge while regularly hosting bushwalks for walkers of all abilities. One of his most important contributions has been the recording of more than 1,200 bushwalks on his website since 2004. Each post includes maps, photographs, GPS mapping, and track notes. He's also gone to considerable lengths to find the document and border markers of the ACT. Mr. Evans' work is encyclopedic. He's relied on by novice and experienced bushwalkers alike, and his website showcases some of the best of what the ACT has to offer. Mr. John Evans, awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mrs. Shirley McLaren. For service to veterans and their families and to the community. Mrs. McLaren has provided many years of devoted volunteer service to a range of organisations. She's been very effective and active in the Women's Royal Australian Air Force, first serving with that organisation during the Korean War. She's been patron of the Sydney branch of the association since 1978. She lobbied to attain the Australian Defence Medal for women who served in the Defence Force from 1951 to 1977. She's proudly led a contingent at each Anzac Day march in Sydney for many years, as well as being an active member of the War Widows Guild in New South Wales. Mrs. McLaren's contributions and dedication are truly inspirational, and we honour her today. Mrs. Shirley McLaren awarded the Medal of the Order.
This is a very special day today. We often have husbands and wives who invested on the same day. This is the current son who will receive a medal later on. So a special day for the family.
Awarded the Medal of the Order in the Military Division, Warrant Officer Class 1, Michael Clark, for meritorious performance of duty as a Regimental Sergeant Major in the Australian Army. Warrant Officer Clark managed significant Anzac commemorations at Gallipoli, at the Joint Australian-New Zealand Commemorative Service at the Beersheba Commonwealth Cemetery, and at the Park of the Australian Soldier in Israel. His support during these events resulted in highly successful international commemorative occasions. He also played a pivotal role in implementing significant changes to the 17th Sustainment Brigade, dispersed across 23 locations across the nation. Warrant Officer Clark is a consummate example of a professional regimental sergeant major and has brought immense credit upon himself and the Australian Army. Warrant Officer Class 1, Michael Clark, awarded the Medal of the Order. We move now to the Distinguished Service Decorations. Awarded the Distinguished Service Medal, Colonel Stuart Kenny. For distinguished leadership in warlike operations as the Chief of Plans for Train, Advise, Assist Command South, Operation Resolute Support, Afghanistan, from January 2018 to January 2019. Colonel Kenny distinguished himself in his duties as the Chief of Plans, Afghan National Defence and Security Forces Development and Assessments Team in the United States Army-led Train, Advise and Assist Command South. His initiative and dedication enhanced his team's efforts in the planning of multiple lines of effort throughout 2018. He also led the team in advising, influencing and assisting the Southern Region's Joint Afghan National Defence and Security Forces and Independent Elections Commission Planning Group. Colonel Kenny's leadership, work ethic and ability to anticipate complex problems were exemplary. Colonel Stuart Kenny awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. We move now to the Conspicuous Service Decorations. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Colonel Mark Baldock. For outstanding achievement as the Director Logistics Headquarters Forces Command. Colonel Baldock has delivered profound improvements to the Australian Army's logistic capability. He fostered exceptional working relationships across a dispersed group of stakeholders and delivered in excess of 300,000 labour hours back to commanders via maintenance reform initiatives. He was instrumental in undertaking a detailed review of legacy platforms to offer disposal opportunities that resulted in $115 million worth of savings for the Army. He also reviewed movement and freight activities to deliver safer and more efficient movement of soldiers and their equipment around the country for training activities. Colonel Baldock has delivered considerable cultural, organisation and managerial change that has resulted in improved outcomes and savings to Forces Command, Army and the Australian Defence Force. Colonel Mark Baldock awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Lieutenant Commander Daniel Hodgkinson. For meritorious devotion to duty as the Head of Officer Initial Training, HMAS Creswell, and Executive Officer of the Royal Australian Naval College. Lieutenant Commander Hodgkinson's service leading the initial officer entry training at HMAS Creswell saw trainee throughput levels never before achieved in the Royal Australian Naval College's 107-year history. He expanded the ability for trainees to achieve their sea training deployment from 2 platforms to 7, including submarines for the first time. This innovation significantly increased the morale and retention of trainee officer cohorts and resulted in a sustained increase in officer graduates. Lieutenant Commander Hodgkinson's efforts in the initial officer training sphere have had a direct, positive and enduring contribution to our Navy's workforce. Lieutenant Commander Daniel Hodgkinson awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. We move now to the Meritorious Service Awards. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms. Anita Perkins. For outstanding public service to strategic communications and community engagement in the Australian Capital Territory. Ms. Perkins, as Director Communications in the Chief Minister, Treasury and Economic Development Directorate, has worked diligently to improve the ACT Government's communications with the community. Since March 2020, she's been the Public Information Coordinator for the COVID-19 pandemic response. Under her leadership, the people of Canberra have been kept well informed of the government's response to the health emergency and the actions we need to take to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Ms. Perkins has deftly modernised the ACT government's approach to traditional and digital communications, and her service is most noteworthy. Ms. Anita Perkins awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr. Kenneth Hall. For distinguished service to the New South Wales Rural Fire Service. Mr. Hall joined the New South Wales Rural Fire Service in 1988 as a volunteer with the Condobolin Bushfire Brigade. He currently serves as Regional Manager South after relocating to Batemans Bay. He successfully introduced the initiative of lessons learned interactive field trips across the state. These trips examine areas that have been impacted by major fires for post-incident analysis and corrective action. His experience has seen him appointed as the State Operations Controller and Major Incident Coordinator for large and complex fires. Mr Hall's service to the New South Wales Rural Fire Service and to the safety of the community has been exemplary. Mr Kenneth Hall awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal. Awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr Gary Hooker, for distinguished service to the Australian Capital Territory Rural Fire Service. Mr Hooker commenced with the ACT Rural Fire Service in 2002. Over the devastating 2019-2020 fire season, he performed active firefighting duties at major fire grounds including in northern New South Wales, Braidwood, Nerriga, Adaminaby and the Aurora Valley Fire. Additionally, his passion for photography has provided the ACT Rural Fire Service with a pictorial history of fire in our region. He's photographed almost every major fire in the ACT since joining the service. Mr Hooker has provided dedicated and committed service to the ACT Rural Fire Service and to the wider community throughout his more than 18 years of voluntary service, and we acknowledge his commitment today. Mr Gary Hooker awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal. Awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr Noel McLaren, for distinguished service to the Australian Capital Territory Fire and Rescue Training. Mr McLaren commenced his career with the then Australian Capital Territory Fire Brigade and since that time has worked across a range of operational and portfolio areas. In 2014, he transferred to the ACT Fire and Rescue Training, where he has displayed diligence and dedication to the education, mentoring and training of firefighters. As an operational firefighter himself, he has participated in several major incidents, including the 2003 Canberra fires. In his role as a trainer, he uses his skills, knowledge and experience to develop new recruits and establish firefighters, encourage them to progress throughout the ranks. Mr McLaren's service to the Canberra community has been of the highest order. Mr Noel McLaren awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentations this afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've acknowledged each of the recipients individually. I think it'd be appropriate now to acknowledge them as a group. Well done. Well, you've noticed the range of activities, particularly for the non-uniform recipients today, from bushwalking to community support for veterans and so on. And you know, out in the community, the wide range of activities are being performed by your fellow citizens. So to your homework. This system depends on nominations from you. You'll have noticed we get a bit distorted here in our smaller numbers in Canberra, but in terms of diversity, the numbers of women receiving awards is not sufficiently high enough yet. We're on the mend, we're on the way up, I'm really pleased to say. But we need to recognise more women, and also our cultural diversity needs to be addressed. Insufficient number of Indigenous Australians being recognised, or those who come from a non-Anglo-Saxon background in our community. And we need to remedy that. It will take time, but it starts with nominations. So please go back, have a look around in your community and nominate. And I look forward to marking your homework in about a year or two's time as people come through that door. It is your system, so please invest your time in it. We now conclude the formal part of the ceremony. Linda and I look forward to meeting both our recipients and their family guests here today in what is a special occasion and one that really celebrates what is the best of Australia. So thank you all.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, and as the Governor-General has just said, anyone can nominate a fellow Australian. It's easy to do by accessing our online nomination form available on the Governor-General's website, which is at www.gg.gov.au. And as the Governor-General has just indicated, you never know, they may find themselves at an investiture ceremony such as this in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite the recipients to join with Her Excellencies out on the state entrance stairs for a formal photograph. And shortly, guests will be invited to proceed into the dining room where afternoon tea and refreshments will be served. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the departure of Her Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley,